Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin. Again here, still sideways movement in the range here for Bitcoin. We talked about that this could also very well just be a triangle pattern that's occurring here, and at the, it starts to make sense now. It starts to become at least something we should consider as we are in some kind of a contracting triangle. So I might end up counting this whole thing as a triangle. Especially possible as a breakout pattern to the downside. That would be the green count. So as we said before, there is now that Bitcoin fulfilled our primary expectation and put that new low in place here on the 9th of November. There is a potential now that we start a move to the upside, but I told you in previous videos, the longer this takes, the less likely it gets, and we are now in quite a clear contracting triangle. We are holding within this triangle above a support zone, and as long as this support zone is valid, we can consider with at least a certain likelihood here a bullish pattern, which would be a move to the upside, which I'm going to take you through. But if we say that this is indeed a triangle, then we would be waiting for another dip down in a fifth wave afterwards, because you would say that we bottomed here in a wave 3. From here we moved up in an A wave, we came down in a B wave, we moved up in a C wave. Maybe this was already the D, or we're still putting in the D. That's not entirely clear yet. And then there will be a wave E to the upside, which would have to stay below the high of the C wave, so below 17,100. Which on the flip side means, should we get above 17,100, it will give us a good clue and idea that actually the bullish pattern might indeed work out, right? But in such a triangle pattern ABCDE, you would expect the price to break out to the opposite side of the E wave to the downside. A first, sort of good target or idea of a target would be just take the height of the triangle here and add it to a potential breakout point, and just to give you an orientation where we might land, depending on where the breakout occurs, around 13.5 cents. Now that's possible. Of course, we are not really constrained by anything. If we go down here, next major support will be sort of in the region around 10k. That's the 88.7% fib level. But my first call, if we really make one more low, it would sort of be in the region 14 to 15k. If we lose that, yeah, we can entertain the idea of maybe even here the triangle target. But the thing is, with those triangle targets, take them with a pinch of salt as well. They are not always accurate. So yeah, especially in a state of, or in a market where there's so much uncertainty at the moment going on. But yeah, still a bearish overhang here over the chart, just purely because we have this triangle consolidation pattern after a fairly strong move down that occurred here towards the end of October, no, early November, of course, with FTX and everything going down. So yeah, downside we still need to consider. Absolutely, there is no confirmed breakout pattern to the upside yet. Very clearly, there is a potential, and we talked about that as well. So in the bullish breakout pattern, which we can consider as long as the yellow support box is holding, that by the way is located between 16,070 and 16,470 dollars. As long as we're holding that, we can focus on higher here. But again, you can see very clearly that we're constrained in some kind of a triangle. So as long as the resistance and the support areas or the trend lines are valid and we haven't broken them, price really can go in any direction. In fact, if we say this is a contracting triangle and a continuation pattern, it might very well go down. But again, we have here a potential to move up as well. So we need to consider both options at the moment. And with Bitcoin, I think it's important to be flexible. We talked about that as well, because all the technical analysis is showing us here is that there is a lot of uncertainty in the market. We get an idea of key support areas, we get an idea of key possible entry areas and trade setups. And this is a long trade setup that we have here at the moment, a possible 1-2, 1-2 setup, which means after this, if the pattern works out, if the setup works out, in a wave 3, we should be moving up into the region around whatever 18.5k, and it could stretch out eventually into the 20k region. So there is let's say a decent setup also in terms of risk and reward, obviously the reward is fairly high. If we talk about possibly 20k, the risk, depending on how low we here still go, yeah, the risk with maybe a stop loss below the yellow box is sort of fairly small. And that's where we are really. And I personally, we talked about in the previous video, said this is a 1-2-1-2 setup, at least we can consider it. And at the moment, because this is the wave 2 in yellow is considered WXY, which is a more complex form of a correction, so-called 3-3-3 pattern, where each of the subwaves consists of an ABC correction. Here, as long as we are below the low of the B wave, 16,750, I have to expect lower prices, because the low of the wave A hasn't broken yet. And in an ABC, you would ideally expect that. So very choppy, very sloppy price action. And I personally would expect here a lower low, as long as we are staying below the 16,750 level, especially as the trend line is coming down as well. But support box ends at around $16,070, so keep an eye on that as well. And that's really where we are, state of uncertainty, triangle. Triangles represent uncertainty. And just consolidation, possible trend continuation. That's where we cannot rule out further downside. Absolutely not. And however, we can also not rule out further upside, because after each lower low that Bitcoin is doing now, it has a chance to put a bear market low in place, and that capitulation ended. Do I believe it's necessarily over? No, not really. The whole market is still in a state of uncertainty, and it could, so either I think, of course we never know, but either I think it's going to be capitulation over price or over time, that we see a lot of and very long sideways movement, because I think it will now take time after the FTX issue that people are going to get confident again into the market. So it's a difficult environment. Don't get me wrong, it's a really difficult environment. And but yeah, this is where we are, triangle. And I think probably you're heading into the apex here, and Bitcoin sometimes likes to really max it out until the end. This could take until the weekend, and the weekend obviously is always, or not always, but is oftentimes a bit boring as well. So yeah, we could be stuck in this triangle until the weekend, and then I think the breaking those trend lines here of the triangle will be a first indication if we are in the yellow count up or in the green count down. Okay, that's my update about Bitcoin. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye bye.